Can a single landscape transform into four completely different worlds within a single year? Snow-covered valleys, flower-filled meadows, forests consumed by fire, and an earth that breathes with steam. All of this happens in the same place, within the same year. It is Yellowstone, America's first national park. Located in the heart of the Rocky Mountains, Yellowstone National Park covers nearly 8,983 square kilometers. But Yellowstone is more than just a vast area marked on a map. It is an extraordinary ecosystem where energy rising from deep within the earth, water, climate, plants, and animals are bound together into a single living system. No day here is ever the same as the one before. During winter, snow several meters deep blankets this landscape. In spring, the melting snow brings new life to the rivers. During summer, the open grasslands become feeding grounds for thousands of animals. When autumn arrives, the entire ecosystem begins preparing for another winter. That is why, to understand life in Yellowstone, it is necessary to understand not just the story of a single animal, but the story of an entire year. Every change that takes place throughout the year makes way for the next. Spring creates summer. Summer prepares autumn. Autumn stores life for winter. Then everything begins again. But all of this begins with the first great change of the year. As the long winter begins to come to an end, Yellowstone slowly begins to rise again. After months of winter dominating life in Yellowstone, the season finally begins to come to an end. The first thing to change is not the temperature, it is the water. The snow that is accumulated on the mountain peaks slowly begins to melt. That water flows into the Yellowstone River and its connected river systems, becoming hundreds of small streams along the way. The rivers, which had remained quiet for months, begin flowing rapidly once again. Waterfalls become more powerful. Wetlands fill with water again. This is not only the beginning of spring, it is the beginning of the entire ecosystem coming back to life. The first green shoots emerge from the grasslands as the snow disappears. Seeds that lay dormant throughout the winter begin to grow again. Within just a few days, these small changes are enough to transform the entire Yellowstone landscape. The plants are not the only ones that have been waiting. Herds of bison, which survived the winter by conserving their energy, begin moving toward areas where the snow has receded. Fresh grass once again becomes their primary food source. Herds of elk slowly move from the high mountains down into the lower valleys. Spring is not only a season of abundant food, it is the beginning of new life. During this time, many bison give birth to their calves. Within just a few hours of birth, the young calves must travel with the herd, because life in Yellowstone never stops for anyone. Thousands of small creatures begin to reappear across the grasslands. Insects become active. Pollination begins again. Wildflowers begin to bloom one by one. Without these small creatures, even Yellowstone's largest animals could not survive. Along the rivers, plants such as willow and aspen grow rapidly. As these plants begin growing again, animals such as river otters, beavers, and moose once again gain food and safe habitats. Spring is not a season when animals simply become more numerous. It is a season when connections are rebuilt. Plants depend on water. Herbivores depend on plants. Predators depend on them. All of them are connected by a single water system. High above, change is taking place as well. Completing their long migrations, many different birds return to Yellowstone. Nests are built again. Songs begin to be heard once more. The silence of winter is replaced by a world filled with sound once again. But spring in Yellowstone does not last forever. As food becomes abundant, another great change begins to unfold. Summer, when the entire landscape is filled with life, is now about to begin. When summer arrives, Yellowstone is completely transformed. The valleys that were covered in snow just a few months earlier have now become vast grasslands glowing with shades of green. Long daylight hours and warm temperatures accelerate plant growth. The greatest amount of life energy produced during the year is generated during this season. Yellowstone's grasslands, forests, and wetlands all become active at the same time. The energy accumulated during these few months will determine survival through the long winter ahead. During summer, Yellowstone's largest herds become most active. Hundreds of bison move across the open grasslands, consuming more than 10 kilograms of grass each day. Their massive bodies are sustained by this short summer season. These large herbivores are not simply animals that feed on grass. Their movement is an important ecological process that maintains plant growth, seed dispersal, and the nutrient cycle. But summer in Yellowstone does not belong only to the animals. Thousands of wildflowers begin to bloom. Bees, butterflies, and other pollinating insects work continuously among them. Without these small creatures, plant life in the following year could not be sustained. Along the rivers, plants such as willow, cottonwood, and aspen grow rapidly. Although summer is a season of abundant food for herbivores, it is not an easy time for predators. As the grasslands grow taller, spotting prey becomes much more difficult. Gray wolves travel for many kilometers with their pack in search of prey. Grizzly bears feed on berries, plant roots, insects, fish, and, whenever the opportunity arises, the carcasses of dead animals. During this season, they try to store as much energy as possible. High above, Yellowstone summer is filled with a different kind of life. Bald eagles use warm air currents to survey the vast landscape. Fish-hunting birds, such as osprey, remain constantly active around rivers and lakes. The songs of small songbirds spread throughout the forests each morning. But summer in Yellowstone does not last forever. The days slowly begin to grow shorter. The morning air becomes cool once again. The behavior of the animals also begins to change. The months ahead will become the most important season of preparation in their lives. Yellowstone is now preparing to welcome autumn. As the warmth of summer slowly fades, Yellowstone begins to change once again. The first thing to change is not the trees. It is the light. The days grow shorter, the nights grow longer. the morning air slowly becomes colder. The animals do not need a calendar to recognize this change. Their bodies read the passage of time. Across the mountain slopes and valleys, aspen trees begin to glow with golden color. Willow and cottonwood also stop growing, storing their energy in their roots. In just a few months, all of this will be hidden beneath the snow. But for now, Yellowstone is living through its final green season. Across the vast grasslands, herds of bison continue feeding without pause. The energy they gained during summer is not enough. To withstand the coming winter, building up body fat is essential. Herds of elk also begin searching intensely for food, slowly moving from the high mountains down into the lower valleys. This is not merely a migration. It is a natural journey that has remained unchanged for thousands of years. Within the forests, grizzly bears become even busier. They feed on berries, plant roots, insects, and every available source of food. During this season, an adult grizzly bear tries to consume thousands of calories each day. It is this stored energy that must sustain it through months of hibernation. Black bears begin the same preparation. The carefree movement of summer is replaced by a time when every feeding opportunity matters. The small creatures of the forest do not fall behind. American red squirrels gather thousands of seeds and pine cones, building food stores for the winter. They do not recover every seed they hide. The forgotten seeds grow into the next generation of trees. These small animals help shape part of the future forests of Yellowstone. High above, change is taking place as well. Many migratory birds begin their journey south. Before the warm days come to an end, they prepare for a journey of thousands of kilometers. But not every animal leaves Yellowstone. Many remain, ready to face the challenge ahead. Meanwhile, Yellowstone's underground world does not change at all. The hot springs continue releasing steam. The geysers erupt just as they always have. The heat rising from deep within the earth continues its work, unaffected by the changing seasons above the surface. While everything above this landscape prepares for winter, beneath it, the earth remains alive. Now, every living creature in Yellowstone is working toward the same goal: survival. Because before long, this green landscape will be transformed into a world of white. Yellowstone's harshest season is now about to begin. Winter arrives in Yellowstone not only with snow, it arrives with silence. The valleys that were once filled with life during summer have now become a world of white. Temperatures fall far below freezing. Powerful winds sweep across the open grasslands. In some places, snow accumulates several meters deep, but life in Yellowstone does not stop. It changes. Every living creature here now faces the same challenge: survival. Herds of bison slowly move forward through the snow. Their massive heads push the snow aside as they search for the grass hidden beneath it. This is not a display of strength. It is the art of surviving while conserving energy. Although their thick coats and powerful muscles help them withstand the extreme cold, food becomes scarcer with each passing day. Herds of elk also gather in the lower valleys and along the rivers. Searching for areas with less snow has now become part of their daily lives. But wherever animals gather, predators are never far away. Gray wolves behave differently during winter. They rely not on strength, but on teamwork. Reading the tracks left in the snow, the scent, and the behavior of their prey, they travel for many kilometers. Not every hunt is successful. In fact, most attempts fail. But winter in Yellowstone is a teacher of patience. The pack waits until an opportunity appears. Meanwhile, many grizzly bears have entered hibernation inside their dens. Their heart rate slows, their body temperature drops. For months, they survive using only the energy they stored during summer and autumn. But Yellowstone does not fall completely asleep. The red fox listens for the faint sounds above the snow. The moment it detects the movement of small mammals hidden beneath the snow, it leaps at exactly the right moment. Birds, such as the bald eagle and the raven, continue searching the skies for food throughout the winter. During this season, no source of food is wasted. Every living creature in Yellowstone is connected to another. The end of one life may become the beginning of another. But within this silent world of winter, another force continues to operate, unchanged. Beneath the snow-covered landscape, the earth is still warm. The hot springs continue releasing steam. The geysers erupt in their familiar rhythm. In the middle of a frozen landscape, Yellowstone reminds us every day that the interior of the earth never freezes. Without this fiery heart, the Yellowstone we see today might never have existed. And that story begins not at the surface, but kilometers beneath the earth. Throughout the year, Yellowstone changes. Spring arrives. Summer fills with life. Autumn prepares. Winter tests everything. But beneath all of these changes, there is another world that never stops, a world we cannot see. The true heart of Yellowstone lies not on the Earth's surface, but kilometers beneath it. This landscape rests above one of the most powerful geothermal systems on Earth. For millions of years, the immense heat rising from deep within the earth has continued shaping this landscape. Scientists call it the Yellowstone hotspot. As the North American plate moved very slowly across this hotspot, enormous volcanic activity over millions of years created the Yellowstone we see today. The last supervolcanic eruption occurred about 640,000 years ago. The vast area of land that collapsed after that eruption is now known as the Yellowstone caldera. It is not an ordinary volcano. It is the remaining mark of a geological event that transformed an entire landscape. But Yellowstone's story has not ended. Water from melting snow and rainfall flows into the ground. As that water reaches the hot rocks deep below the surface, it becomes intensely heated. It then returns to the surface under pressure. That is where all of Yellowstone's geothermal wonders begin. More than 10,000 geothermal features have been recorded within this park. That is more than anywhere else on Earth. Among them, more than half of the world's active geysers are found within Yellowstone. Old Faithful is the most famous example. When the underground pressure becomes great enough, this natural phenomenon sends hot water and steam more than 30 meters into the air, attracting the attention of scientists and visitors for decades. But Yellowstone's wonder does not end with its geysers. Hot springs such as Grand Prismatic Spring are among the most colorful natural sights on Earth. Its blue, green, yellow, and orange colors are created by thermophilic microorganisms that have adapted to different temperatures. The microorganisms that live in these extremely hot environments also provide valuable information for research into how life began on Earth. Life among Yellowstone's hot steam and life across its snow-covered grasslands exist together in the same landscape because of this underground heat. Its rivers, forests, animals, and seasons. The beginning of everything we have seen so far is this unseen fiery heart. But heat alone does not sustain life in Yellowstone. There is another force that brings life to this entire ecosystem. It is water. The next journey begins along the rivers of Yellowstone. If fire created Yellowstone, water keeps it alive. Throughout the year, snow that accumulates on the mountain peaks slowly melts during spring, becoming hundreds of small streams. These streams join together, creating Yellowstone's vast water system. This water travels through the landscape, connecting lakes, wetlands, forests, and open grasslands. Among them, the greatest lifeline is the Yellowstone River. Stretching for more than 1,000 kilometers, this river is one of the longest free-flowing rivers in the United States. And even today, much of its natural course remains unchanged. Its waters carve through more than just mountains, rocks, and canyons. They connect the very life of Yellowstone itself. Along the riverbanks, willow and cottonwood trees grow. Among these trees, birds build their nests. Beneath their shade, small mammals find protection. Within these same waters, native fish such as the Yellowstone cutthroat trout have lived for generations. These fish provide food for otters, eagles, and bears, making the river the heart of the food chain. Beavers build small dams using branches, logs, and mud. The ponds they create become new habitats for countless other creatures, including fish, amphibians, insects, and birds. Because of this, beavers are called ecosystem engineers by many scientists. The water of Yellowstone is never still. It is constantly moving, nourishing, and connecting all forms of life. Fire creates the landscape. Seasons transform it. But water, it allows everything to live together. A year comes to an end. The snow falls again. Spring returns once more. But Yellowstone is never exactly the same. It changes every year, It changes with every season. It changes every single day. Deep beneath this land, the earth still breathes. Above the surface, rivers continue to flow. Forests continue to grow. Animals continue to migrate. New life is born. Old life comes to an end. Together, they continue writing a story that has never stopped for millions of years. Yellowstone is not only America's first national park, it is also the place that inspired every national park in the world today. It was the first place to show the world that wildlife, geology, climate, and conservation could exist together within a single landscape. And that is why, even today, millions of people from around the world travel to see Yellowstone. Some come to witness the old faithful geyser. Some come to admire the colors of grand prismatic spring. Others wait to see a wolf, a grizzly bear, or a herd of bison living in their natural world. But many people leave carrying more than just photographs. They also carry a deeper respect for nature. The most popular time to visit Yellowstone is from May to September, when spring wildlife activity, open summer roads, and the golden forests of autumn attract visitors from around the world. But even during winter, this snow-covered world offers a completely different experience. Perhaps the most valuable places on Earth are not the ones created by humans. They may be the places where the planet itself is still creating. And among them, Yellowstone remains one of the world's most unique natural classrooms, still alive, still changing, and still with much left to teach us. This is not only the story of one national park. This is a reminder that the Earth is still alive.